get rolling here. So, what are we firing up this afternoon? Well, sometimes it's good to be the bad guy. I love a good bad guy. In this case, the bad guy is the spaghetti monster Inverter of Truth. But this Eldrazi is not like many of the other Eldrazi. It's not truly colorless, although it is technically colorless, but it costs 2 black and a black, and it has the interesting line of text: when Inverter of Truth enters the battlefield, exile all cards from your graveyard face down, then shuffle all cards from your graveyard into your library. And it's a 4-mana 6/6 flying. So this is a sweet discounted rate on your 6/6 flyer. It seems like it could be a good way to win a game, beat your opponent down, although you're going to have to do it before your library expires and then you lose the game. Or so we thought. But then it turns out that there is enough of a density between Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, and Thassa's Oracle that this actually functions a lot more like a combo deck. Inverter of Truth gets your library very small to a state where Jace, Wielder of Mysteries plus 1ing will get rid of the last 3 cards in your library, and if that is the case, you win the game. Or Thassa's Oracle, if your library is totally empty, the Thassa's Oracle trigger can win you the game even if it gets removed in response. Or if you have a number of Devotion to Blue that you can keep on the battlefield. Say you have a Jace and a Thassa, your Thassa resolves, you could have 5 or less cards in your library at that point, and then you win the game. Constructed around this is just a generally decent blue-black control deck. So somewhere hanging out in my files, maybe I got rid of it because this deck is just clearly the better version. But before Theros Beyond Death was released into Pioneer, there were a few blue-black control decks kicking around, and I played one of them a couple of times. It seemed reasonable, but it was hard to win the game. This package in this deck has basically caused it to become one of the top 2 or 3 archetypes, depending on who you talk to, in the Pioneer format. I've got a big Pioneer event this weekend, so there's a chance that we just get in there, play the bad guy, and wreck some people up. It's a team event, so I am more incentivized to play something that is less cute. This deck comes to us from the recent SCG event, and it was constructed and played to a 2nd place finish, losing to a mirror match in the final by Ben Weinberg. So thank you, Ben Weinberg, for this. I picked it over the top place list. There was just a couple of different cards, most in the sideboard. They had Pack Rats. The other player was playing a few different slots there. And they both made the finals where they lost in the mirror match, so both equally constructed, so I just picked the one that has slightly more cards that I would like to play. So we're hopping into match number 1. Had a smudge on my glasses. Happens when I go to the gym sometime. Even with my glasses off, this looks like a pretty unkeepable hand, although we are on the draw. We're playing a 25-land deck. And we do have interaction for the early game against most of the decks in the format, but I think I just want to be able to hit my land drops. This is a much, much, much better hand. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to fire the Dig Through Time to the bottom of my library. Maybe we can play just a nice, reasonable control game. Looks like we're against Master Niv. Yeah, definitely staring the Niv-Mizzet down. The Niv-Mizzet deck down here. So this Hero's Downfall is going to be nice. Most of our deck is blue. So just fetching the island first. I've got 2 Drowned Catacombs, so our mana is pretty good. And then Ipnu Rivulet means that we're going to get up to this Jace no matter what. If my opponent has a decent draw, they're going to start playing out threats now. So flipping over to my deck list real quick, you can observe the almost entire lack of... That's really rough. Oh no, I have a Hero's Downfall, so it's not going to be too bad. And actually, this deck doesn't need to function at instant speed as often as a lot of other ones. Given the game state, I'm just going to throw that on the bottom. I think I need other things right now rather than Thassa's Oracle. I have 2 Jaces, so... Their deck does have plenty of ways to remove Planeswalkers, but... I'm going to plus the Teferi? They shouldn't. they should be aware that the removal that I use is just going to kill it outright, but they might. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah, okay, cool. They chose not to attack, not suspicious at all. They don't want to lose their ramp to a fatal push, and as long as their Triad is untapped, they can't push it, so they get to preserve their mana in that way. Hero's Downfall getting to be a 1-for-1 here on the Teferi is great, so. Hopefully they don't immediately have the Ring to Light or Niv-Mizzet, although it's likely that they do. Unmoored Ego. I wonder what they call it here. It's probably Inverter? Yeah, they call it Inverter. Alright, so we're going to have to play a fair blue-black control game. It's a little tricky because some of their cards generate a good amount of value. And without counter spells, it's hard for them hard for us to deny them doing anything. But we can deny them doing plenty, so here is hoping that that will be enough. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to play a Jace Wielder of Mystery and start milling ourselves, and then hopefully eventually get to a game win in that fashion. Second Paradise Druid is not the best thing I've ever seen for us, but this Jace should be able to get 2 draws, so that'll be something. Then our next Jace can get 2 draws. There's no sweepers in this deck, so hopefully we can pick up a Fatal Push or 2 along the way. Maybe this is Bring to Light? No, Nahiri. Okay, they're going to start looting with that. Sure. They did Hallowed Fountain, draw a card. I'm going to attack Jace for 2, that's fine. Mill myself here. Dig Through Time would be an excellent pickup anytime soon. Here's actually able to quote Ultimate very quickly. So I really would like to find an answer for her. Bottom that. Cycle this. Fatal Push. Well, it keeps my Jace alive. So we'll cut them off of 1 mana here. Every little bit counts. They have too much overlap. They have black, white, yeah, green, blue, and red. So the only thing they're missing right now is red. If I can kill their second Paradise Druid, I can cut them off with Bring to Light and Niv-Mizzets, but the Nahiri is able to -8 next turn, which is pretty good. Oh, looks like they found the Niv or the Bring to Light. Yeah, found the Bring to Light. Okay. So now they get to find Niv-Mizzet and juice up. Yep. So definitely a reasonable draw for our opponent. Puts End of the God Eternals, Nahiri, and Bring to Light in their hands. So now they've got another Niv. They do discard Enter the God Eternals. That makes sense. Mill myself. Play Urborg. Play Narset. Minus my Narset. Pick up a fairly useless Fatal Push. It does take them off of red mana, so their Bring to Light they picked up is not as good as it would be, but they can Nahiri for a creature with haste and smash in. So definitely going to be in rough shape as this next turn elapses. Let's see how she goes. Nice to see Niv-Mizzet bringing the pain here. And see the bad guy is not indestructible. down to 30 cards in our deck right now, but that's not really close enough to do too much. So they put, I could do this. They have a backup Nahiri, so they could fire off a Nahiri, this Nahiri, and then play a replacement. No, they can't play the replacement. They don't have red mana anymore. Teferi, that's pretty meh. Doesn't really affect the game too much. Okay, they're only attacking with Niv-Mizzet, so this means they're going to kill my Jace, which is fine. I suppose they could kill... Yeah, okay, they're going to kill Narset. I guess that makes sense. Narset digs deeper. So they're going to take the Nahiri up even higher. They're going to ditch their Nahiri that they can't cast? Yeah, that makes sense. Activate their Teferi on plus, sure. Okay. Fetid Pools. We get to mill ourselves more. They're going to upkeep Thought Erasure me. That's fine, because I have this semi-redundant Jace, and I picked up another land, so. Cool. Jace ourselves. Dig through time. That's big money. Alright. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Alright, Hero's Downfall is one of the best pickups here, and probably a second Dig Through Time. Because they don't currently have enough mana to cast another Niv. The problem is I'm already squeezed on what I need to do. So any order of these. Looking through my deck list, I don't have enough tools to kill everything they've gotten into play without being able to combo. So the problem here is if I kill the Niv-Mizzet, they use the Nahiri to get us a backup one. And I literally have no other way to deal with that. I've gone through 1 Jace, 2 Jace. This is going to be 3 Jaces, and this deck is playing 4 and 3 Thassa's Oracle. I've hit 2 Thassa's Oracle there, and okay, so I have 1 Thassa's Oracle, 1 Jace left in the deck. So okay, cycle this. Probably this turn we're just killing the Niv-Mizzet, which is going to force them to. So they didn't hit a red. So kill that Niv-Mizzet, force them to use the Nahiri. So they're going to kill my Jace with their attacking Niv. Niv gives them the draw trigger. Yep. And then we'll see where we're at. The Niv does bounce back to their hand at the end step, so they don't get to keep it. But they do get to draw. Bring to light Slaughter Games. Alright, Slaughter Games. Oh, they can't cast the Slaughter Games. Good. I think they got a Thought Erasure. Maybe they got that earlier. No, Thought Erasure, Teferi. Okay, so Thought Erasure might take us out of this. We will see. Oh, they're going to be able to upkeep it again, right? Yeah, that's going to be rough. If we draw our Jace or our Thassa's Oracle, we could easily be in a lot of trouble. Now they have red mana, so if they fire off this Slaughter Games, I think. And they can do it at instant speed once they know what cards are in my hand, so I think I'm just done here. It's not too bad. No, it is. It's awful, because they just Thought Erasure, my Thought Erasure, and then they Slaughter Game my Dig Through Time, if they're clever. I think they should do that, even though it could backfire on them. It means I have legitimately nothing to do this turn. So as soon as they take my Thought Erasure here, I'm just going to concede it. Go to game 2. We have a decent setup against them post-board, I believe. So we can start thinking about this now. So, ooh, actually, it's not that great. We have Jace, Negate, another Oracle. Another Oracle's not really great, though, against what they're doing. We don't have more disputes or anything of that nature. I mean, Noxious Grasp is okay. Negate's okay. Jace is definitely okay, but Noxious Grasp, Jace, Negate. And then maybe Pack Rat. So those go cleanly for the Fatal Pushes, I believe. I don't think Fatal Push is something we keep here. Okay, alright. I'm done with that game. Alrighty. These new versions of Niv are looking pretty good, though. So, I believe Fatal Pushing their Paradise Druids or their Sylvan Cargotids is a bit of a fool's errand. So we're going to bring in these 4. And then I don't think there's anything else that I terribly need to bring in. Their deck has a lot of removal usually. They could board out a chunk of it against me, which would mean the Pack Rat would be decent. But I personally don't see anything that's obvious to take out. I guess maybe Narset, but I'm not sure the value of Narset in these lists right now. So we're going to leave it like this and rock on to game number 2. Would I like to play first? Yes, please. Would I like to keep this very keepable hand? Yes. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Jace is going to do work. Sure. Could have waited until they're through their turn to do that, but I know they don't really have any turn 1 plays, so I'm not worried about it. Just getting that click equity. Okay. The question I have is, am I going to set up this Narset next turn or play a tap land? Play Paradise Druid, so they could... They can hit me with Slaughter Games next turn. Gonna activate Jace now. Was really hoping to draw... Thoughtseize or Thought Erasure. Alright, so... If they're on the 4 Slaughter Games sideboard plan, this Negate's not going to be able to do anything. So in that case, sticking the Narset would be better. So I don't know which direction I'm supposed to gamble here. I think if I stick an Inverter next turn, I can just Oracle for the win the turn after that. So I think I'm just supposed to go tapped Fetid Pools, hold up the counter, and then we'll just see if we just get to combo them out here. So depending on exactly what form of disruption they play here, perfect. So negate that. Cool. So I've got 3 cards in my graveyard. So I play Watery Grave. Trigger. Play Inverter. Guess this only backfires if they have counter magic. Or discard, I suppose. Yeah. Alright. So, we're all in, baby. All in. Next turn, or end of turn, I can draw with Jace to get to the negate. So I just went naked combo here and hope it's good enough. If they have Bring to Light for Thought Erasure, I guess they crush us here. Or Slaughter Games, or there's lots of ways this can go sideways, but I decided to grip it and rip it, and maybe we just get to combo them out. Probably not the right way to do this, but I'm trying it this way, so. Well, if they have Slaughter Games or something like that, they do have to guess. You went Thought Erasure? Slaughter Games. Alright, so they're guessing here. So that's a 50-50, basically. Yeah, and they lost it. Feels bad, but that's the way she goes. That's the way she goes. So, sick. So, draw, discard, draw. I can just play the Oracle now. Could literally put myself to 0 cards in the library, but yeah, cool. There we go, game number 3. So sometimes playing the sick combo deck, you get rewarded for playing the sick combo deck. Don't think there's anything else I need to change here. Based on the way that game went, I feel like having more Oracles could be okay, but I definitely do not dislike any of the tools that I did bring in. I finally would like to have a Thoughtseize hand. Thoughtseize can really mess that deck up in the early game if you mess with their mana. So Choked Estuary makes this hand super awkward and slow. Opponent kept 7, so I'm going to assume their hand is reasonable. Question is, how reasonable is this hand without... So basically we go tap land on 1, and after that we don't have double blue, so I think this is a mulligan. This is better, but it's still not good. Again, a complete lack of disruption. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to throw the Oracle. Am I? No, I think Dig Through Time is slower and chunkier. I'm going to throw the Oracle. I'm going to assume that I need to be playing the disruptive game here. I want to find action as quickly as possible, so we're going to opt on the first turn cycle. Leave the blue out because now they know what's up, and I could have Mystical Dispute. There are things like Thought Erasure they can play on turn 2 that I could dispute, so might incentivize them to ramp instead. Rest in peace. Well, that makes keeping this Dig Through Time super awkward. But we live on. Opt, sure. So my Jace is now forever a looter. That's actually kind of okay. Abrupt Decay. Well, they do have a land. Multiple digs. Well, this is just definitely not what you want to see. Play tap land. Suppose I could have opted trying to find disruption and then this does mean if I find a Jace and resolve it, then the next turn I can win on the spot with Inverter, but we're not there yet. Slaughter games. Yep, so there goes my Inverter. Oh, there's a Thoughtseize. Well, thank goodness I finally hit one, right? They do get to see my very, very embarrassing hand, so we are in pretty big trouble in this game, but not done yet. That's a shame. They had the Abrupt Decay too, so definitely a tricky one. Well, definitely know what I'm taking there. They couldn't cast the Niv-Mizzet, but redundant Rest in Peace doesn't do anything for them, and Slaughter Games is not too bad at this point. Yeah, I mean, they could Slaughter Games my dig through times, but they basically weren't in my hand anyway, so. Name's Jace. Okay, so this makes this game almost impossible to win. So probably should have run in the Pack Rats, I suppose, is the wisdom here. So I know that for next time. Now I basically just have no ways to win. I have very few ways to generate redundant card advantage, and I can't flip a Jace, the Jace Vryn's Prodigy. So definitely pretty rough. So their only card in hand is the redundant Rest in Peace, so that's definitely okay from our perspective. I think I'm going to fire off the first of my 3 Thassa's Oracle just to scry 2. Opt and Drowned Catacombs. So this is our 7th land, which gets us pretty close to actually casting these dig through times. So my opponent is a scotch bit more lucky. We could start doing things before. Okay, we're down to 1 dig through time. If my opponent is a scotch unlucky, we could get to doing stuff before they do. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the value of what we're doing here is, but this league is for learning about playing this deck, because this is the deck in its fail case, which is definitely going to happen a percentage of the time, especially when the metagame is as prepared for you as this build of Niv-Mizzet is. Okay, so they've just got the Rest in Peace in hand, so I just hit my dig through time mana, which is sweet. Just gonna pass the turn here. If they draw some hand disruption or otherwise, perfect. So they drew basically nothing. So we're just looking for, yeah, Narset's fine. Thought Erasure doesn't do anything right now since they're living off the top of their deck, so we'll just take a Narset and another dig is fine. Fabled Passage don't impress me much, but something, you got the touch? I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I think she's alright, but... So we're just looking to thin our deck down, and we can actually get a decent amount of devotion into play. If we can do that, might actually be able to... That's a decent draw. Might actually be able to do this. Can't imagine there's much value in like Thoughtseizing them. Problem is we don't have any way to like generate a bunch of card draws. Dreadbore. Well, that's frustrating. Top deck the Dreadbore. Sure. Yeah. She was a 2-for-1, so I suppose that's alright. We keep drawing these Fabled Passages, which ain't not bad. just pass the turn here. 28 cards in library. Opponent is flooding out like some kind of crazy river, possibly in Egypt. Jace does give us consistent card draws, so I'm going to take the Jace. I'm going to take another Dig Through Time. Yeah, because I can cast Jace and Dig Through Time on this next turn. So, again, just looking to get pips into play and also draw as many cards as possible. Alright, so plenty of draws that they can hit that are not very good. Their deck does have a lot of air in it. If they finally hit the Bring to Light or Niv-Mizzet, sweet. Man, we're just super lucky here. Sometimes you gotta be lucky. We'll take the Narset. Take the. Do I need a Thassa's Oracle yet? It's getting pretty close. I've got 5/7 Devotion to Blue. So that's the other thing to consider. I'm going to leave her in the deck for now because they do play things like Thoughtseize. Going to put the Oracle on top though. So put this on the bottom. Put the rest in any order underneath it. I believe that's the way that works. And I can also cast this Opt. Negate. Yes, please. So if they hit a Bring to Light now, I'm prepared. Sweet. So Thought Erasure just for the Surveil. Sure, take that. Put the island in my graveyard. Play the Narset. Take up the Jace first because I've got a Thoughtseize that I wouldn't mind discarding. Fabled Passage is okay. It does mean I shuffle, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to Narset first because I know there's a Thassa's Oracle near the bottom. We miss. There's an Ipnu Rivulet still in my deck, so that's okay. Shuffle up here. We got one more basic land past the turn. So we're ready for almost anything they play except for actual factual Niv-Mizzet. That's the best draw in the deck. Bring to Light doesn't do it. Teferi is fine. Would I rather negate this or let it resolve and then... I think I'd rather negate it. So 18 cards left. This gets the last land out, which is super. Minus my Narset. Put Mystical Dispute in my hand. Yeah, I guess. It's ever so slightly better. Yeah, start that. Okay. So I got 10 mana, so Paradise Druid, sure. Does not do anything in particular right now. Second Hero's Downfall is okay. Don't need to uptick or to activate my Jace yet, so I'll just pass the turn. Okay. Combat. I've got a 1/3, so yeah. Going down to 12 cards in library. Watery Grave, don't need that. Thought Erasure, sure. What do you got over there? Targeted, sure. Urborg, put in my graveyard, sure. So 10 cards, we draw one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So we're still at 7 Devotion, so we're getting real close. We just need an Oracle, we'll get there. This is a bonkers game. I'm glad we stuck in this. Thought Eraser's fun. Okay. So we win this turn. So we Thought Erasure them. Okay. Can put that in the graveyard. Can activate Jace. Choked Estuary, discard it. And now we resolve Thassa's Oracle. I'll put Rivulet on top, and we win the game. think there's a concession lockup happening. So unbelievably, through massive amounts of hate, this deck wins out. Feels good to be the bad guy. Everyone loves a bad guy. So rocking and rolling into match number 2, being the Evil Empire. Alright, match the second. Let's do it. Oh. And that sweet Twitter feed action. Alrighty. It's pretty unplayable. So, plug in that one. That's better. And toss an inverter out of this. The rest of this hand functions pretty well on its own. Do I shock? I don't think so. I guess in the dark, if I shock, it's probably correct because of all of the Llanowar Elf decks, but which are reasonably popular right now. So still looking for a 4th land to get my Jace on board. The colors are great though. Black, white. So if I take the SRAM, there's the 4th land. I have triple blue already. Perfect. So this game appears to be working out perfectly in our favor. We are going to sorcery speed the removal on SRAM, assuming that they just jam one here, because the rest of their hand won't be able to persevere through that very well. It's a Guideless Shrine. Cool. Tapped. Alright, so they are ready for the control deck to have outs. Smart player. So our removal's a little clunky here. So when they play the SRAM this turn, they're going to have 1 mana open. Oh, they're really slow rolling it, huh? Okay. They drew a 2nd Godless Shrine, so I know 5 of the 6 cards in their hand. I do just get to jam this Jace down their throat. They're going to play the SRAM and put as many things on him as they can, and they will have the Karametra's Blessing up, to which I have an out, so hopefully this works out in our favor. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's fine. So 3 cards in graveyard means I think I'm supposed to start milling my opponent, because this means if I top deck an Inverter, I just win on the spot. Sure. They do get to draw a card here. So it means my removal will be a 1-for-1 rather than a 2-for-1. I assume there's no world in which they activate. Okay. So, what's this? Pretty sure they still have a Plains in their hand. They've played 1 of their Ethereal Armors, so we have 4 of 5 cards. So, I'm gonna Jace, activate on them. Cool. Blocker. Don't mind that. Play Drowned Catacomb. I think we just go push now. Oh. So Jace getting dangerously close to... Yeah, okay, they conceded. I think that was just a misplay on their side. They just F6'd or something like that, not expecting me to play my removal so ambitiously maybe, but did not work out. So this is green or white creatures. This does destroy most of what they've got going on. I think Cry of the Carnarium is probably ambitious. So Legion and Noxious Grasp, just to up the amount of discard I have, or creature destruction I have. Removal, that word. Narset's like borderline okay. Mystical Dispute's pretty bad. Maybe some Thoughtseizes, because they go light-handed pretty quickly. Oracle's like not the greatest in this matchup, but it does set me up to just win some games. So I think I'd rather have 3 Thought Erasure, 3 Thoughtseize, something like this. Let's do it. Chalice really nukes this deck. It nukes a lot of decks in this format, Roy. Chalice would be egregious in this format. Okay. Mulligan to 6 or keep the 7. I think the 7 is pretty bad. I was going to say it was okay. The only thing we can cast is the Thought Erasure, which theoretically scries us into another blue, but then the rest of the hand after that is like, I don't know, it's really fast in terms of combo if we draw lands. Playing a 25 land deck. Alright, let's keep this hand, see what this kind of hand does to us. So again, this league is all about science. We want to learn. Opponent did mull 6, so it gives us a little extra juice here. Dryad Militant actually might work against them, and picking up Fatal Push there is kind of ideal. Turn 1 tap land is kind of crappy, because it means that they can start putting pants on this. Fossil of Purifying Light, again, one of those cards that's like, seems really good against us, but it's actually not as powerful as you would think. Okay, so and this says if an instant or sorcery put into a graveyard from anywhere. So if I put an instant or sorcery in my graveyard with Thought Erasure, then we lose it. I'm gonna cast the Thought Erasure this turn. The idea being this digs me 1 instead of digging me 2. Karametra's Blessing can't give Hexproof or Indestructible to either of their creatures because they're not enchanted. But yeah, so I think that means SRAM is higher value. Opt on top. Throw that in my yard, quote unquote. So both of those get exiled instead of going to the graveyard, but I think that's okay. So currently their hand is a Karametra's Blessing. And play Shock the Eldritch. Is this Gideon? No. Cartouche. Sure. Now that's enchanted, but I wasn't able to kill it anyway with Fatal Push because it has Pro Black, so no loss there. So we're going to push the Dryad. So keeping the clock that is a reasonably fast hand might pay us off. We definitely need that. So if we draw another black source, we're just going to slam an Inverter. And then hopefully, what is this? Oh, they're exiling your cards out of my graveyard. Right, so... Okay, now they're able to exile both the cards out of my graveyard, so I can't play the Inverter. So it actually got me in a little bit of a squeeze there. Yeah, and they're going to remove them all now. Keeps me the furthest from casting Dig Through Time or similar. Thassa's Oracle gives me a shot at a land. And can block the Apostle for a turn. So that's what we're going with here. That's upsetting. That's a really bad draw. Alright. So we pick up Thoughtseize next turn, and then we're in big trouble. This does limit how much I'm likely to take this turn to 3. because I could kill their warrior if they attack with it, so that's kind of okay. I don't really want to play Thoughtseize, so I'm going to take the 3 here. Still can get there on this one, but that did not help. This Ipnu Rivulet might actually kill me. Oh no, they can just Karametra's Blessing and kill me here, so I'm just looking at the top for no reason. Cool. Alright, so pretty unlucky there on the number of land draws. Head into game number 3. So I don't hate the fact that I kept that hand. Definitely didn't work out. Well, actually, these. I think the Cry of the Carnariums could be better than I thought they were. They really would have gotten beat up with that hand. This hand has plenty of interaction, no combo pieces, but this deck is pretty good at finding them. So here's hoping we can do that. Just go tap Watery Grave, pass the turn. That's not the best draw. But we do get to hold up removal through turn 2. Hopefully they don't just have turn 2 Apostle and then many pants. They do. Oh, that card is so frustrating. Right. So Catacomb. Then next turn I can play Rivulet. Then at the end of their turn, crack it, mill myself, and then pass to my turn, dig. Something like that. Hopefully they do something like a SRAM. And they don't just have infinite enchantments to dump onto it for maximum damage, like exactly this situation. Shoot. So Inverter's a poor draw, Jace is a poor draw. We're really squeezed here. Thoughtseize is not a great draw. Can prevent more damage than we take though, so I suppose it's worth playing. Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to do something like that. I guess I could bounce it? Oh, that's fine. I see. So we know how the rest of this game is going to go. I'm going to put a stop in their second main phase. Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to kill this now. It's adding a damage, which is really not acceptable. So they have one unknown. Okay. So that allows me to distract them for a turn, I suppose. Which could get me to enough mana to go Inverter plus Oracle. So we just gotta find Inverter plus Oracle ASAP. Yep. Be interested to see if they choose to attack Jace this turn or not. I'm gonna choose to mill them. Don't need my graveyard to be any thicker than it is. Oh no, I guess I should have. Oh crap, that's just lethal, right? Yep, couldn't beat that. Alright, nice top deck. Alright, so Cry the Carnarium may be a necessary card in the matchup. Not sure. Definitely would have helped in game 2. Their Apostle of Purifying Light was like a 3-2 almost all game, and they went very wide early. So, plus Ephemia the Cacophony. So I think I'm pretty sure that I am supposed to bring in Cry the Carniarium in that matchup, which is good. We're playing against very good players online. Seem to be consistently top quality. I think I'm still hovering at 1700 ELO or whatever, but not that that matters too much. Oh, well, 1728. Yo, how's it going there, Ice Blade? The Blade of Ice. Nice games. I think I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to bring in Cry of the Carniarium against you. No, he was my opponent in the game just now, Roy. Keeping the heck out of that hand. Please no Breach Inverter. I'm sorry. Veto, Opt, Sabotage to Fairy. So the way this game is going to go from my side of things, I don't really have anything to do until I play a turn 4 Jace. So Veto and Sabotage are pretty much... I mean, misclicks happen to everyone. Also, hey there, Nightmare Apple 8. Yeah, the misclip, like, but that's something that can happen to anyone. Whereas, like, my failure to sideboard correctly is like, I feel like it's something I'm supposed to just know by this point. But having never played the deck before and never played the matchup before, like, what are you gonna do? So, they've got Opt that they haven't fired off yet. There's a Glacial Fortress I didn't see before, so now I know 6 of 6 cards. No, 5 of 6. Sure. We'll Opt in turn. Sultai Delirium with Uro, yes. The last 2 times I've played it, I really enjoyed playing it, but it didn't feel like it was doing anything like when I played the Mono White Devotion deck, for example. That deck felt like hot gasoline, fire, whatever non-descriptive description you want to use for it. Opponent with the quality opts from Ixalan, the second best opt. I am not, of course, using the best opt. I wish I was. Oh, I'm not playing a version of Inverter with Censor. That's wrong. I want to play the versions with Censor. I know it's not like... Or if the top 2 players at the SCG weren't playing it, I feel like it's probably not the correct choice, but... So I know they have Sinister Sabotage in hand. This field is down. Damn it. Field is down. And they got the Sabotage, so I think I'm going to play... Ipnu Rivulet, which is going to let me set up for a pretty cheap dig through time. Oh, crud. But they just played a Field of Ruin. But they don't have a strong 4-mana play, so if they field me, I think I just Rivulet myself. So if they field my Rivulet specifically, then I would have fizzled it. Shock Howler Fountain. So, mill myself, sack this desert, yes. Alright. Push is not a good card here, but we'll make do. We'll make do or die. So, Cycle Sensor, sure. Are they gonna fire off there? Nope. Just more sensors. So I still know that they have Sabotage Plains Teferi. The plane still hasn't come down. Do they jam the Teferi? They do. So this is kind of ideal, because we get to dig in response. We milled over our Mystical Dispute. Ah, it's so bad. That was like the card I was looking for here, but so Hero's Downfall, Inverter, Narset. They don't guaranteed have a counter that they can play, but Hero's Downfall being 3 mana is like so prohibitive. I think we're taking Downfall and Narset. Narset's not even that good in this matchup, but yeah, I can't see how I can get a combo through against this. So we're gonna do that. Then we unfortunately let the Teferi resolve. A more stock or run-of-the-mill blue-white control, like what the opponent's playing, also is something I'm considering, because it's just something I have a lot of reps on and a lot of practice with. I'm just confident with that kind of deck. So. Infinite Narsets, you said. It'll be fine, they said. Don't have veto. Sweet. The blue-white deck actually matches up against Inverter reasonably well, at least pre-board. They just play a lot of Planeswalkers, and this deck has very few answers for them. And this time they're going to have Sinister Sabotage out, so I'm going to have to start hacking through that, and it's just going to be really tough to overcome the amount of resources they have now. So once again, you can see the early Thoughtseize having a lot of impact over the way the game went. Thoughtseize or similar would be the best draw here. Opt is kind of close. Thought Erasure is fine. So we attempt to erase some thoughts. They're likely to just fire off a counter to protect their information. Yeah, and then they get to surveil. So now I don't know any of the cards in their hand. Shock, Watery Grave, play out Narset, and then we down tick Narset. So pretty okay exchange, except for that part. So I think we have a lot worse cards in our main deck because they're playing Censor and Azorius Charm, which both cycle, which is really, really good. Although they did just plus their Teferi trying to draw a card, so that's kind of sweet. And then they cursed about it in the now their Rage cast out. They do get to untap 2 lands, so it's not too bad for them, but yeah. I think I'm going to opt again. The way my mana is set up right now, it doesn't particularly help. Okay. They should be playing less counters than they used to. So I'm going to put this Inverter on top. And then draw it. Fire off this Narset to try to hack through more counters if they have them. Dig through time. Ooh, that's really good. Yeah, the other control deck gets to play Dig Through Time too. Uh-oh. Narset? Okay, opt. Sure, so they're only looking for veto now, I think. Okay, did we get there? We got there. Sweet. Thoughtseize this time? Can I get actual factual whiff? Good gravy. Cycle farmland, sure. Yeah, they opted and then they cycled farmland. They tuck my Narset, they play Gideon. Okay, Gideon makes it so I can't get the quick win with Inverter now. So that's, yeah, it's tough. My graveyard has a Hero's Downfall in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so we don't quite have enough mana. If I play Jace and plus Jace, their Gideon can attack it for 4. So that gives me a little more time, assuming this resolves, which I don't think it will. Yeah, it's me Sabotage. Oh, another dig. Okay. Could be okay here. You're okay here. Gonna mill. Gonna mill them this time? Yeah. Draw our own dig, which I could play right now. Make my graveyard exactly 1 card of my choice. If I had to make it 1 card, it would probably be Thought. No, Hero's Downfall, I think. Not gonna fire this off yet. But we definitely have options available to us. I think the top card of my library right now is Narset. Narset incentivizes them to use a counter on that rather than, yeah. It's a good chance they're countering my end of turn dig through time, and then maybe we just grip it and rip it and try to get there. They shocked. What does that mean? Teferi. So I dig. Could leave 2 cards. If I leave 2 cards, they're going to be Thought Erasure and Mystical Dispute. Crap. Why doesn't it wait? I wonder. I don't know why on some of the other cards they're like, are you sure you've absolutely clicked all the exact cards that you want to click and not a single one that wasn't correct? And then for some reason dig through time's like, nah, we're just resolving now. It's over. So taking the Hero's Downfall out of my deck means that I can't even Mize a win here. So I think we're just done. I think plus on my opponent. See if I draw one of my other downfalls, I guess. Dig through time. It's too expensive, really. Yeah, I can cast it, so. And I can't cast instants, so I might as well. Yeah, that's game. Cool. Too much. Too much. Fairy Hero of Dominaria, despite a bunch of misplays, still getting them there. So we got Noxious Grasp. We've got pack rats. Hold on a second. We've got Jace. I think we're supposed to go down on Digs, assuming that they'll bring in something like Rest in Peace, and then Fatal Push is awful. And then one inverter because it's clunky. I'll be back in 1 second. You got it all hooked up.
Well, I lost.
That's fine. One of the things you went to.
I know. But I couldn't see where. And I pressed Nintendo.
Yeah. So it's going to be all the way to the bottom.
It was way at the bottom.
Yep.
Sorry about it.
Oh, no problem. Grandmother needed help setting up Super Mario. All right, let's do it. Let's get this win. Well, that's a pretty ideal post-board hand. I'm keeping the crap out of that one. I think we're firing off Jace on turn 2. Jace or Pack Rat? I don't really think there's a good argument for Thought Erasure on 2. Thought Erasure can eat counter magic on their turn 2. And firing it off proactively is like not great if they have a Teferi. Although Pack Rat would be... So I can't necessarily activate my Pack Rat next turn, so that's why I'm going to play the Jace. Taking this line, see how it goes. I cut one inverter, I did, right? Yeah, okay, so I just gotta be careful with the number of inverters that are in the deck. So they have Veto and Mystical Dispute, most likely. So I think Pack Rat's just going to resolve if I cast it. Oh, they have the turn 3 Teferi. Sure. If they have the Teferi, they can just bounce my Pack Rat, but I think that'll be not the greatest, actually, but they didn't get there. Cool. So they have a bit of a soft hand, sounds like. That's a pretty ideal thing for us to see there. Draw Narset. Narset's pretty good. Ditching the hero's downfall sounds super greedy. I think I do ditch the inverter. Got enough other things going on. So we will activate Jace first since I have plenty of lands. Sure. Don't need the Urborg. Just see if I had other options. I think Thought Erasure is the play for this turn. Well, their hand is terrifying as soon as they hit their next land drop. A double dispute. 3 out to fairy. Once I make it a second rat, though, I can kill his Gideon. No, I can't. That's not how that works. Definitely taking out to fairy. Oh, I have Hero's Downfall for Gideon. Keep opt on top. So I'll play this island, attack for 1. Cool. Can flip the Jace next turn. Okay. Cast down. Huh. They're getting my Jace? Getting my pack rat. Okay. It's a choice. This means I get to resolve Narset this turn and flip the Jace. Feels good. So I can flip my Jace without spending any mana, then flash back the Erasure. Play Narset. Cool. Touch a second Jace, sure. Like to cast this Thought Erasure. Cast a Thought Erasure, target my opponent. And take out their Teferi. Leave him with Gideon. Mystical Dispute on top is fine. I like that card. Play Narset. Planeswalker midrange plan. It's doing his thing. Noxious Grasp seems good. So I'll fire that off first. No, I'll use Narset first. Well, that's a bunch of really attractive options now, isn't it? Negate probably being the best one. So Noxious Grasp. They wanted to keep up the double. Illegal targets. And pass the turn. They scooped. Alright, cool. That's fair. The board we put together is pretty gross. Hopefully it's not loud enough on the stream that gets me nailed with copyright. Doesn't seem like it is. Cool. It was a great hand. Keep. Alright, so here's our cost reward evaluation for this game. Alright, I should have fired off the end of turn opt there, so that was a mistake. I was thinking about other things. So, if we play Jace, Vryn's Prodigy this turn, here's how that goes. They probably have a 3-mana counter. I get to blow them out with Mystical Dispute, quote unquote, blow them out. However, then next turn they get to do whatever they want. Now, if they had a 3-mana Teferi, they probably would have played it here, but then again, usually in the control matchup, the first person to blink loses. And we still have plenty of land drops, so that's usually the thing. So, and if we resolve a Jace and then they just drop a Teferi, we are super far behind. We have no answers for it in hand. It shuts off all of our instants, so we really, really don't want them resolving Teferi anytime soon. Maybe getting Narset into play would be worth it, and allowing them to get a Teferi, because Teferi can't bounce the Narset, but right now we're just looking for disruption. I don't need an inverter right now. Another Narset's not too bad. So if they have Mystical Dispute, Narset doesn't get in. So I'm going to fire off this Narset. They can fight over it and then resolve a Teferi 5. Or I could just let their counterspell happen and then keep my Mystical Dispute to beat their Teferi 5. So they have 2 Narsets. So because I have a backup Narset here, this is fine. And they could have Veto or Negate on top of it, so just going to let that one go. Maybe pulling the trigger here was not the best idea, but it does see if they will play a Teferi 5 next turn. So if they tap down for Teferi 5, we're happy campers. If they have Teferi 3 or Gideon, we are less happy. That's a really good guy to have. Doesn't line up particularly well against my Jace, so maybe we get a Jace here. And that was a great top deck. This allows us to have the maximum number of options. Veto. Yeah, that's fine, because now we get to resolve this Jace. And then Jace will ditch our redundant Jace as well as... although once Jace flips, he's more vulnerable to getting beat up by Gideon, so... kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other here. Would like to draw Hero's Downfall soon. Sooner rather than later. Apt. Opt means I do get to flip my Jace this turn, which is great. Thassa's Oracle. Thassa's Oracle is okay. Chump blocks Gideon. Do I just want more action right now? I think it's not good enough. Jace Wielder of Mysteries is expensive. So use my, quote, free draw here. Ditch backup Jace. Play Catacomb. So now I can replay my Thoughtseize or an Opt. I think Thoughtseize, because then I get to play Jace plus Jace. Most likely. That puts me in a pretty good spot to beat this Gideon. they can Castle Ardenvale here. Could play Narset and not down ticker this turn too. No, because Mystical Dispute doesn't beat the Absorb. So I want to get them on as few resources as possible. So we let that happen. I think I just jam the Jace here and hope they don't have yet another counter. I didn't get a look at their hand yet. Goodness gracious. That's a pretty good hand from my opponent. Womp womp. It's going to knock down my Jace. Oh no. Okay, well. They find a Teferi 3. This could be really good. They did not. Okay. The question is, do I want to downtick the Narset when I play it? I think so. So if I find the hero's downfall, I can fire it off and kill their Gideon, which gives us a path to victory here. Dig through time is acceptable. We're going to lose the Narset, but I think in terms of how this game can go from this spot, make our peace with that. They could have Mystical Dispute here. Yep. But I can dispute them back. Hopefully they don't have a second one. So Inverter plus Packrat, maybe? Is that the best pair? Probably. So Packrat beats Gideon pretty nicely. Not quickly, but definitely will do it. With Negate back up, it's not rough. Probably just Packrat opt. Inverter gives me an auto win out from here. So, alright. So I'm gonna lose our Narset again, but she kind of did her work. So let's see how good their draws were. Field is not much. Boot up the Chad. Chad's gonna kick Narset. Kadonk. Yep. She did. Don't beat Teferi 5 or something. That'd be gross. It's gotta be dig through time. Been taking this long. If they cast it, I'm gonna go get an island. Cool, they didn't. Nice. So I'm just going to keep this Thoughtseize for Packrat fuel. They have only one card in hand and I have Negate, so I think that's fine. Yep, Andress, sure. Almost their entire deck is non-creature spells, so this Negate is pretty hot. The interesting thing about Packrat too is that they play something like Cast Out to try to remove it. That doesn't work because then I just make a copy of Packrat. 6. Elspeth. Dig. Negate. Please resolve. Sweet. Activate Packrat. 1, 2, 3. Discard my Thoughtseize. So I could kill their Gideon and have 16 power and toughness on the battlefield. Seems like the plan. We're all in, baby. Hope they didn't leave any wraths. So swing for 20 this turn. Oh God, why? Quality opponents. Okay, so go combat. I think I'm gonna have 3 pack rats attack the fairy and 1 attack the player. Because if they have an Azorius charm, oh, they have enough to create an attacker or a blocker. So just fire everything into fairy, see what happens. They have to make a blocker now. Okay, so Teferi's just gonna die. Cool. They get to scry 2 again. Which doesn't feel great. But I can put 26 power. So if they don't do anything, I can beat them with just what I have. I have lethal on board, basically. But no, they can make a blocker for sure. So I don't need to go all in any more than I have. 1 more dig through time in this deck? I do. So they thin, they opt. If they upkeep Castle Vantress, they have 3 mana left. Which is not really enough to stop me. They did not. Maybe they found the Wrath. I hope not. Dig through time. Alright, I'm going to cycle this in response. Oracle. Not great. Maybe they didn't hit the Wrath. Maybe everything's going to be okay. It's like 0 chance. Opt. Okay. Still didn't get there. Now they can't. Arden Veil? So they put themselves dead on board? Cast out. Sure. So I'm going to be able to put them to 1, I guess? Oops. Okay. No, I can put them to... Okay. I see. I see. Drawing more oracles. Okay. I think we're just jamming for 20 here. I knew it. So they take an Inverter out, then they sack the Soul Guide to draw a card. That's 6 mana. Teferi. That's game. Yeah, got there. 2 match wins, huh? All right. Sweet. Hit the washroom real quick. I think I should be able to get through one more. Might have to hit a league pause and then come back to this later on. Alrighty. Let's do it. Do it. Do it again. I'll work on your grip strength in between rounds. Don't update my iTunes now. Having trouble finding this third match. Nobody wants to play against Inverter. Come on, baby. All right, there we go. Let's do it. All right, big bad spaghetti monster. Yeah, pretty ideal hand. Okay, on the plate as well. I think I want to opt. We're just looking for another land drop that isn't a Fabled Passage. Fabled Passage has been pretty awkward most of our matches. Okay. Tap land is good. Fatal Push, definitely no. Got the double mulligan already. Yep. This is probably getting an island. Ooh, Bant. It's probably spirits. So maybe not as bad to have the double push as I thought. And the Mystical Dispute is better. I'm gonna fire off this Oracle. Probably not gonna have a better opening than this, and it lets me kind of try to smooth out my draws. Catacomb is better than Passage because I need the double black right now. This is a Rattle Chains. I'm going to kill it. It is. Oh, the Fabled Passage would have allowed me to kick my Fatal Push. So 6-1, half a dozen the other. No land. That's awesome. Post-combat land. Oh, I say combat. Post-spell land. Not as awesome. Okay. Catacomb. Narset. Not going to get a better chance to cast her here, and I have Dispute and Push open. They play a Lord straight up. Ooh. Oh, Thoughtseize is appealing. So is Jace. I think Thoughtseize is the best thing to grab here because I can take their Lord or their Collected Company. They probably have more than one of each. So maybe just take the Thoughtseize and hold it. This gives me more of a chance that my Narset can draw me another card next turn. They don't play any haste creatures, and so the only thing I need to worry about is them actively trying to resolve a Lord. I don't know if I should just go shields down. Let them main phase the company. I think there's very little downside. They attack with this. Probably should have pushed it. So I'm going to push it now. If they play Little Teferi, it sucks, but I think this will be okay. I think I'm probably misplaying this game all over the place. If they have Spell Queller, that's like an odd... Yeah, it's like an odd choice to Spell Quell that, I guess. Guess it's consistent with their sort of tempo plan. So Opt is fine here. Land is not great. Date Your Time is pretty spectacular. So take the Supreme Phantom here because they have 5 mana, so they can't play both of the other creatures. Fire off my Dispute here. Yep. So there's the Eagle and the cards. They've got Nebelgast Herald left, which is not a Lord. So not going to up their clock by too much. Super. Alright. So I have an inverter, so I need this Jace. And then taking the Thought Erasure seems like the best second choice. Good to kind of try to clear the landing area. Okay. Cool. So, assuming that next turn doesn't go horribly awry, so they need to draw a creature or a Lord in the next 2, because I'm going to play Jace, an Inverter, and instant win. So they have a Herald in hand. So, no, I took their Herald. And their Glacial Fortress is what they played. Super. So I have most of the information. I guess I could play the Inverter, and if it resolves, then I can play the Jace the turn after, and then I don't need to worry about the Jace getting attacked down. So there's that as an option. Backup Jace. I think Jacing first makes sense. Spell Queller is the game loss here. Company is really good. Okay, so probably should have just played the Inverter. Crap. And not pushing the Selfless Spirit at the end of that turn earlier, really biting us in the butt. It's been able to attack so many times. I didn't think they would Spell Queller a Fatal Push on a Selfless Spirit. But that was a mistake. Yeah, so I should have played Inverter this turn. Assuming that they don't hit a... No, they would have just been able to tap down my Inverter and kill me. How much power and toughness do they have here? They have lethal? They have lethal. Okay, so I have to draw a Fatal Push, which I don't think is possible. Okay, cool. So lose the game to the Disruptive Aggro deck. Not surprising, but we do have good tools for this one in the sideboard as well. So we've got Legion's End, Noxious Grasp, that's for white creatures. And then Cry of the Carnarium is like an interesting card. I don't know if I want it here. I kind of do. If we hit the right combination of things. God Eternals is probably okay here. Kind of cut out a lot of the clunkier elements here. Something like that. I think they're going to have mystical disputes. I don't think Jace is particularly good here. I think I'm okay with this plan. Alright, this is like not the best, but we're going to be able to play everything we draw, and we got a Fetid Pool, so. We just play Watery Grave and pass. They don't have a lot of great turn 1 plays, and we can beat. That sounds like a very weak hand opponent. Early Inverter is not my favorite thing, but maybe we just get to punk them out. Let's see. My internet acquaintances needs some help. So, oh wow, the full stumble, eh? That's brutal. Their hand must be gasoline if they kept it like this. Fortunately for them, we're not doing anything except for developing our mana, but they miss one more land drop there in big trubs. They don't have their third color. You got their third color. So this sounds like their hand absolutely has to be Rattle Chains plus Selfless Spirit. I have a Thassa's Oracle in my hand. I can jam this Inverter. So I think I just try to win the game right now. Because they stumbled so badly. I don't think they can have double counter next turn, so I think so. My logic on this is I can win the game next turn by casting Thassa's Oracle. Stroke. Okay, that's fair. I forgot that Stroke was a sideboard card that they played. Makes sense. Because if they spell Queller it, I could push it, and if they can't Mystical Dispute a Inverter, so I would have been able to navigate their post their hand afterwards. They wouldn't be able to beat everything I have. I think I'm going to keep the Cry based on the context of what their hand is. So we just got to prioritize killing any lords that are going to try to come down. I think I'm going to play this Thassa's Oracle because I just want to up my draw quality right now. I need to find something like a Jace or other action. Dispute. Sure. It wastes their resources as well here. So I am giving them things to do with their mana, I suppose, but it's slightly better for me. Still got 3 dig through times hanging out in this deck somewhere. So. Noxious Grasp is a fine pickup. So, okay. If they had played an end of turn creature, I would have fired off the Hero's Downfall. It's the most expensive piece of removal in my deck, so looking to just be lean and mana efficient against spirits when you can be. Dig is a perfect draw. Not going to tap down where I can. Sweet. So that can resolve. I could just downfall it. I think I just dig now. Hold on. So, take the lands first. Spells are good for post-Inverter, but Inverter is not. Thassa's Oracle is great for post-Inverter, so I think just take everything except the Oracle. So maybe if I draw an Inverter, then I'm just set up. I think Legions and Thought Erasure leaves me best equipped for what they have here. I'm at my end steps, so Thoughtseize doesn't do anything much. Sure, Mausoleum Wander's fine. So they don't have a Rattle Chains, they're saying. Supreme Phantom also fine. So I think I fire off Thought Erasure here, and if the path is clear, I invert and go for the win. Cool. Would you like the Mausoleum Wanderer me? I'm prepared to wait a turn. Dispute. I can pay for that in this circumstance. The information is worth a lot more. Okay. So I 2-for-1 them on a Thought Erasure? Gross. Guess they just have to completely insulate themselves from an instant loss. Second water is fine. Phantom's fine as well. So I get the Legion and their Supreme Phantoms here, and that will give me a look at their hands, so that'll be pretty good. They can't Mystical Dispute it. I get another Supreme Phantom. That's gross. Wow. Okay, so their hand is currently Spectral Sailor. There's 5 cards in my deck, including a dig. So I'm just going to take a picture of that because it lasts longer. Cool. So that's about to be my deck. Judo flip. Sure. Okay, I also have enough time to beat them to death, so as long as they don't top deck a Collected Company, I should be okay. Draw a card, sure. So here's my Fabled Passage. If I look in the deck shot there, there's no chance that that can find a land. But I can use it to revolt my Fatal Push. I think I just get my 2-for-1 here with Cry. Hit them for 4. Puts them to... Yeah. Hit them for 4, that puts them to 12. Then they're 2 hits to dead, so I can actually squeeze them here and put them to 2 different ways that they will die. So even if they pick up counter magic, we should be okay here. Interesting game. Opponent definitely stumbled a lot to get us to this point, but that's the game of Magic. Okay. So dig. If I dig at end of turn, it translates to winning on my turn. So just gotta set myself up for that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I can cast both Fatal Pushes without going down on, quote, mana. Chains. 2 chains. I'd like to fire this off when they have the least chance of having a way to stop me. Kick. Selfless Spirit. I can't stop that. So they're going to be able to sack the Selfless Spirit to give it Indestructible, which is fine because I can just kill it on their upkeep. It's your turn. You're totally safe. No, you're not. Judo chop. Eagle. Yep, that's a white creature. So we kill him in 2 different ways here. So I have 3 cards left in my deck. They're exactly those. So So they scooped. Cool. But I could have just killed them 2 different ways, which is kind of neat. They didn't know it. Okay, I kind of like the way that I sideboarded there. Seemed to work out okay. Legion's End was a complete blowout, but I do have to be a little bit conscious of the fact that sometimes when I'm blowing up creatures, I need to try to leave some 2 CMC creatures in play. God Eternals is like really weird here. It's like it's okay, but it definitely has the potential of being completely useless and trapped in my hand. I don't know if I want to go any lower on dig through time, so I think I'll just stick with as is and see if I can get as lucky as that game. Don't want to keep this hand against spirits. Just need more interaction. Cry could blow them out. I have the mana to cast it. Keep this. Bottom the Inverter. No, because Inverter combos with more things. Even though Jace is a better card, but I have no way I'm going to get to cast a Jace with this hand, so let's hope they don't have a perfect draw on their side. So this means Spectral Sailor in hand. Second Cry means I'm likely to fire one off pretty aggressively on turn 3. Almost no matter what the board is. Unless it's going to kill literally nothing, but hopefully they don't have Supreme Phantom here. They have exactly Supreme Phantom there. Okay. So hopefully they don't have Eagle next turn, and or I pick up a push Chase. Thank God I dodged that. Okay. So kind of working out. I think I just push while their shield's down. Depending on what they have here. Like Empyrean Eagle is not too bad. They don't have Eagle, so they've got to have Spell Queller. Spell Queller and or Rattle Chains. I'll just play a tapped Watery Grave and hope that they respect counters or removal here. Shoot. Okay, well this does open them up to, yes, what's up?
You want me to start the chicken?
You can. I'm gonna be done in a few minutes, and then I can do it.
Okay. I thought I had a jar of buttered chicken that where the sauce was already made.
You should. You should have more than one.
I can't see it.
I'll come grab it in a minute. I know where it should be. No problem. Alrighty. I should have played Fabled Passage there, because if they have Spell Queller, I could blow them out completely. I think if I just cast Cry this turn, I can try to go for that line next turn. Let's see what happens. They could also just hard cast. Oh, yeah, so the exact line I should have done this turn was play Fabled Passage now and then push that. I didn't think about it carefully enough. Thought Erasure is an okay pickup. Actually, it's a really good one. This might allow us to completely steal this game. There's like 0% chance this resolves. Yeah, okay. So can't pay for that. Play Passage. Sack Passage. Get Island, and then play Push with 2 mana up, and hopefully that gets us there, or we're done for. But if this does resolve, it's kind of nuts. Just hoping their last card is Stroke. Shoot. This might be draw a card. Yes. Okay. Alright, dodged it. Trigger on the stack. Yes. Would I like to cast this spell? I really would. I would. It's A+. So now I've got an Inverter in hand. It's going to be Coco. So that's less than great. Legion's End is a pretty okay draw. So, is there a world where I play the Inverter and just hope that I can kill them in the next 5 turns? It makes my deck super alive. I think I have to do this because otherwise it's just too likely that they just straight up kill me. So let's see if they have Stroke plus Coco. Okay, they Coco. So neither of these can take a Spellcaller off the table. That's, yeah, well, what else are you gonna do? Alright. So I'm gonna take at least 3 next turn. Maybe I can break my Inverter out of jail. Gotta get a little bit lucky though. I've gone through a lot of my removal. Okay, not lucky yet. Fire off a Legion's End here. Rattle Chains is actually okay here. Shoot, no it's not. Maybe they'll miss it. There's like no chance they miss it.